And welcome back. Well, I think in the last session I could have given a quick demonstration as to the relationship between our aileron, the piece of geometry here, with our point connection and also our control curve Messerschmitt there. We've disassociated the link with the aileron to the point connection, but if we move our slider here, we can see that the point connection is active. That's the part which is wired. Okay, I'll just move that up to clear all that there at the top. Well, next what we're going to do is actually wire up this point controller here. Now this has three connections. If we look, it's associated with the fuselage, and with this we need to wire it up so that it has a roll, pitch and a trim. So that's what we're going to be doing next. Okay, so let's get cracking. So with our control curve selected, we're going to press Control and 5, and now we want to modify object, attribute holder, custom attributes, and we're going to start off with the fuselage roll. Now we have our dotted line or rubber band, and what we need to do is select our controller. Now we've got to get it somewhere. As you can see, it won't attach to the top section here, but it does attach down here. Okay, let's select it there. Transform, we're looking for rotation, and now because we haven't locked any of our axes off, we have all of the rotation axes available to us, and this is where we need to know which axes we want to be affected. Now in our case it is the Y axis. That's that one running along there. So we pick the Y rotation, and here we are. We have our dialog menu again. So let's take a quick look. Okay, so it's got attribute holder, fuselage roll, and we're in the Y rotation, Bezier float. Great. So let's connect that so it is a one-way connection. Left parameter controls the right parameter. And there it is. We can connect now, but if we do so, then we still have that problem of it'll just rotate quite a few times and totally ignore what we've set up. If I press Alt 1, what we've set up in our parameter editor, and if I go to edit and delete, and we're looking for fuselage roll, let's have a look there. Just move this out of the way again. So here we can see that we've got it from minus 180 to plus 180. So if we don't put our little expression in here, deg to rad, it'll totally ignore that there. So let's now put that in, deg to rad, open parentheses, pop onto the end, close parentheses, and now we can connect. As we can see, this is the controlling part and this is the wired part. Now we can close that down. At the moment the fuselage isn't linked to our point connector, but we should be able to see what's happening here. There we go. It's actually rotating on the roll, so the Y axis. Let me just close this down for a moment, pull that around, and let's have a look. Yep, that's rolling. And of course we can bring it back to its original position by right clicking between the spinners to zero it. Next we'll look at the pitch. Now the pitch is where it moves forward or backwards, so therefore it needs to be active along the X axis. Okay, so our control curve is selected. Let's go Control plus 5. We're looking at modify objects, attribute holder, custom attributes, fuselage pitch. Now there we go, we have our dotted line, our rubber band, but why does it actually come from that position? Well, it's coming from that position because that is the pivot point of our control curve here. It's nothing to do with the fuselage, it's the control curve. Okay, so let's connect this up to our point connection. Now if we put that somewhere around there, we're about down here. So we've got a point connection there. Let's click that. We want to transform, rotation, and as we said, it's going to be active along the x-axis. So let's select that one. Here we go. And it's showing us that we've already got a connection with this to the fuselage there, and that's operating or wired to the Y rotation. So here we are, the fuselage pitch now, X rotation. Let's connect that or wire it, one-way connection, left parameter controls the right parameter. That's fine. Again, we don't want to connect it just yet because we need to put in our little expression, deg to rad, open parentheses, move on to the end, close parentheses, and now we can press connect. Let's close this down, and now we just want to test this out. So we're looking at pitch. There we can see it's moving backwards and forwards. So we're happy with that one. Right click in the middle of the spinners to zero that out. Now we can move on to the trim, and that works on the Z axis. So control curve is selected. Let's go control and 5. We want to modify object, attribute holder, custom attributes, fuselage trim. We have our rubber band again. Let's connect this up to that. Let's go transform, rotation, and Z rotation. Here we go, and as we can see that we've also got the fuselage roll, pitch, they're connected to the X and the Y. So now we've got the trim and we're going for the Z rotation. Happy with that. Let's wire it up, one-way connection. Fine, great. Now for our little expression, deg to rad, open parentheses, onto the end, close parentheses, and let's go connect. We can close this down now, and let's just check our trim. So this needs to be rotating about itself on the Z axis. Let's check this out. There we can see it popping through. Great. So that's working also. Let's just zero that out. Now we can pop into our schematic view. Let's have a look. So there we are with our point connection fuselage. What we want to do is actually connect our fuselage to that, or link it. So let's select connect or link, left click, keep it depressed, drag it across, and point connection fuselage. There we go. Let's close this down for a moment, and now not everything is linked to the fuselage, so we know the fuselage and the wing should rotate. So let's check this out, and there we go. It's rotating in that direction. Let's zero that out. The pitch, backwards, forwards, lovely. Zero that out. and the trim. That's nice. So everything seems to be working. Great. So let's now pop back into our schematic view, and the CC Messerschmitt is selected at the moment. What we now want to do is just unlink the fuselage from the point connection fuselage there. So that's now selected. Let's go unlink, and there we go. It shoves it to the right. Now we can close this down. Now of course we may wish to edit our parameters, so that would be Alt 1, and here we go. Let's have a look. Edit stroke delete, and you're going to say, well, where's everything gone? Well, let's close it down. Now let's select control curve there, then go Alt 1, and magically everything reappears, and that's because all of our parameters, our controllers, are fitted into the control curve here. So going down to trim, let's have a look. There we are. We've got it minus 60 to 60. Well, 60 degrees with trim, yeah, it could do. It could do. So we're happy with that. But of course we can modify these at any time simply by pressing Alt 1 and also having our control curve selected. Well, mindful of the time, I think we'll call that it for this session. We'll actually work on the undercarriage next, because there is a few issues concerning our pivot points. Things that Max seems to put a preference towards, and some things that it doesn't seem to like. So we'll work on the undercarriage in the next session. Okay, well, I'll catch you later.